Welcome back, everyone. We're very pleased to be joined by TSM's Reginald. Reggie, congrats on the match. And I got to say, first question from us is, what was going through your guys' mind when you walked into Jackie in the beginning of the game there?
So what was going through my mind was like, there must be like 4 other people in that brush. Okay, we got to get ready. Just Darius, flash taunt into that brush no matter what. Because we expected 5 people to be there, and I was ready to like flash in. Everyone's ready to just go ham. And I was like, oh, it's free kill. And so we got the free kill on Rise, and we got a gold lead, and we just won. We just snowballed the game.
So there you go. That's why that was the flash taunt, because they thought there were 4 more there. Because we questioned that. We're like, that was actually completely taunt range, but he flash taunted it. So now we know.
He actually saved it. But that kind of fell into your hands. I was wondering if the team comp also fell into your hands, because that's a team comp we saw a lot in Season 2. The globals were really effective, but then the cooldowns on them were nerfed. Were you guys planning on doing that coming into the game?
So one of the biggest things is that we stopped using that comp mainly because Karthus is always banned out against us, and I saw MVP Blue use this comp against Knight and Sword, and they just swept it. One of the biggest things is you really pick comps based on other teams' compositions. Like CLG usually runs split push. They're known for split push. Curse is known for running strong objective champions, like champions that are strong for Dragon, just strong fighting in general. And like people can also run poke. And so they ran a team objective comp. So we just chose a comp that was stronger in team fighting, and we had the ability to split push as well. So it was pretty huge.
Now, does seeing a strategy that you have now brought back from Season 2 work like this, does that enlighten you guys to go on and do more, or are you kind of going to stick to the wheelhouse and tweak it when you need it?
So like, just by watching the Koreans play, I can learn a lot from them. Like, they do really crazy shit. Like, they bring it to the next level. Like, I was watching MVP Blue play, right? And generally, when you play Nocturne, Karthus, and Shen, you kind of just Nocturne ult in, and then you Karthus ult, right? And then you probably get kills. But what I saw from them was that Nocturne ults in as Shen ults Nocturne. So usually when Nocturne ults in, you flash away instantly. But then there's a Shen that comes out that taunts you instantly as well. And when you have something that threatening, you can just kill them and then get a tower and objective. So we mainly just use that comp specifically against Curse because they pick very team-oriented comps.
So early on, you guys got that first blood, but you had to burn both of your summoners to get it. As a mid laner, can you explain to the viewers how that changes your early game play?
Okay, so I was so scared. I was like, okay, he has a Rise, he has Flash Up and Ignite, and he can just rune prison me anytime. If Uda runs into me, I'm dead. So I played super scared. At level 1, I knew Sam was going to do a buff regardless. We had a ward on one side. I was like, all right, I got to push this up ASAP, and I got to get a ward. So I pushed it up. I didn't care if I got the last hit or not. I just wanted to push the wave, so I got the EXP. Because experience is the main thing about LoL. If you notice, like, it's such a big stat booster when you level up. So I pushed up instantly. I went back, got a ward. If you notice, I warded both sides. And as soon as the ward on the right side died, I was so scared. I pushed up again and went to get another ward because I didn't want to die with the gold lead already. So that's the biggest thing is that if you want to get good in middle, you always want to have vision and make safe plays and make smart plays.
So in a game that looks like you guys have so much control, as you did, when you're doing that well against a team like Curse, what is your biggest fear that you look for from them? Where could Curse come back and take hold of that game for you guys?
I think the biggest thing is if we misplayed, because usually if you have a comp like that and you get a gold lead, you usually just end up winning the game outright. One of the biggest things was it was super scary when Saint actually ganked top with 3 people and they're going crazy. Saint flashed in and they're going deep to get the kill. And Saint actually misplayed that, and Draven was able to get the kill. And I was able to go up there faster, if you noticed. I think that was the biggest gameplay in the game, where I actually roam up top, and Sona and Cog are behind me, and I wall them, and we get 3 kills top. And with that big of a lead, like you pretty much win because they used all their summoners. So that's one of the things they tried to do to come back in the game was they went really hard, they flashed in, they tried to go for the kill, but it turned back on them. And that's what you have to do to get back in games.
Your roam has definitely been on point. Do you feel like you actually, going into the game, mentally knew that you roam more than Jackie, so that would be an advantage right there?
It really depends on the matchup because I got the level 1 lead, right? I got the gold lead, I got boots up before him, so one of the biggest factors was I actually had boots, so I move a lot faster than him, and I had Karthus, so I pushed faster than him. And once I noticed that, I was like, the only way we can actually lose is if they die top. So I was like, I don't care if I lose 3 waves, I don't care if I lose 4 waves, I'm running top. I have to make sure they don't die. And if they do die, I have to make sure I get kills out of it. So that's what you have to do. Keep your lead and close out the game.
So how is it being back on Karthus, a champion that you used to play all the time, but then stopped playing a lot because people were banning him and because the cooldown was increased on his ultimate? Was it just like putting on an old glove and you fell right back into it?
So I'm extremely comfortable as Karthus. I think like my win rate was like really crazy in season 2. It was probably the biggest ban against us in season 2, and that's one of the champions I can always play. It just seems that season 3 has changed the meta in towards of it's moving back and forth because people really don't know what's good yet. Like if you noticed in season 2, right? There's so many people were discovering new things by the end of the season. Like so many new champions were being used. Like Nidalee wasn't used at the beginning, Nidalee was used, and there's just like so many comps out there that people have not discovered yet. And you just have to really look around you. Like I've started to look at the Korean scene more and the Chinese scene more, and I'm always looking to learn right now. And that's really important as a player, is to always look and learn.
Does everybody take that into consideration, or do you like to kind of learn and then see if it will spread to the team as it spreads, or do you kind of force it on them?
So we didn't actually expect to pick the Nocturne pick because we're one of those teams that we want to practice what we play, but I'm trying to take a new stance to it because League of Legends is a team game and it's all about strategy. I feel like it's going to get to a certain point where picks are what it matters the most because generally it's the same thing. You go in lane, you last hit, and then you group up and you team fight. It's very, very repetitive. And it's going to get to a point where it's like a huge chess match where if you can outpick them, and then you win. So right there, obviously you have to play well mechanically, but it's going to get to a point where it's all about picks. And it's really hard because League of Legends is such a complicated game. There's a patch every 2 weeks, and it's such a high learning curve. Like things are always changing, so you have to be able to adapt quickly. So like I said, League of Legends is all about adapting as a pro. You always have to adapt. You have to change. Like you have to make changes because Season 3 is totally different from Season 2.
Right. Well, it's awesome to see all the new teams that have revamped adapting, as well as Team Solo Mid. And again, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
So now it's time for Vulcan versus Complexity. And both of these squads know which players they need to shut down if they want to walk away with the win today.
Mainly when we're playing against Complexity, we just look out for Nick Wu. He's pretty much their star player.
Pull out a win on Vulcan. I think we need to focus on really shutting down Mandatory Cloud. I believe he's one of their strongest players.
He has a really scary Zed, Rumble, and we just don't like playing against those champions.
They're all great players, but I think ManCloud is one of the best.
We'll typically try to ban out ManCloud and like take away his picks as well, but I think we're going to move away from that. Maybe we'll start playing more team-oriented type of play instead of focusing on ManCloud.
Both Mandatory Cloud and Nick Wu seem to have targets on their backs, with Vulcan and Complexity focusing their ban strats on these two players.
Yeah, really big ones. Vulcan have banned Zed in all 3 games, and it's interesting because Nick was only gotten Zed 3 times in his LCS, and his KDA is only 2.4, which is really, really underwhelming, but he constantly makes plays. He can outplay you level 1 versus 1 in the top lane, and his team really relies on him to make dangerous plays to get them back in the game. So that's why his KDA kind of went down. It's still definitely ban-worthy champion.
He still loves to be a fighter.
Ban-worthy champion against them. What's definitely ban-worthy is Mandatory Cloud's Nidalee. He's got a KDA of 40. 100% win rate. 4 games as Nidalee. He has yet to lose one, and he went 4-0-5 in their first game versus Complexity as Nidalee. Then Complexity banned out Nidalee the last 2 games, so they'll probably continue to ban that out. Yeah, 4-0.
All right, the match is about to start, so it's time for us to check out the lineups. On the blue side, it's Vulcan, Psycho Sid in that top lane, Xmithy in the jungle, 40. KD, Mandatory Cloud in mid, Zuna on AD, and Bloodwater coming in support now.
Then spawning in the red corner, it's Complexity. Nick Wu up top, Loud Immortus in the jungle. Prolly now at mid, Brunch U on AD, MIA on support.
Well, before we get into Champion Select, let's take a look at who you think will win this match. According to LOLesports.com, 65% of you guys think Vulcan is going to come out on top.
Pretty
gracious.
weighted there towards Vulcan.
Gracious.
People are really happy with Bloodwater shot calling.
Absolutely.
That's showing against TSM. I mean, we interviewed him after, and he said it was kind of coincidence that they had the Requiem at the right time, but it looked beautiful when they were doing it.
The one part that would really get you just gung-ho as a Vulcan fan, though, and you think about it, is when he says, I really believe this is a team I can lead. And I watched it, I was like, damn. Let's see if he can bring it to the table then.
Yeah, that's a huge component to be missing from a team. Like they did this well in the LCS. They were middle of the LCS, basically without a strong shot caller. And now that they have that, they've become a lot more fearsome of team. But Complexity are not scared of anybody. They will not give up anything, and they, too, have a new player.
They do, absolutely. Coming in that mid lane, probably one of his favorite things to do is play champions that people haven't really played against, know how to counter, really don't just know the mechanics in that professional style of play. And he brings it out, did it with Ziggs yesterday, and really just threw off Lux. Why can't I remember who played Lux? But it was Link on Lux as they beat CLG. Link that's one of his strongest champions. We've seen him coming out. He was almost MVP right behind Hotshot if he didn't grab it that week with his Lux play. And it probably was just like, let's do this.
I'm really glad because that's an interesting strategy that Prolly uses.
Yeah.
Not a lot of other people try and use that surprise factor in the matchups in the mid lane, and that's something that won't work forever though. So he's got sort of a time where people will learn each different champion, and he's going to have to keep on switching to keep on using that. We'll have to see how long he can keep that rolling.
Absolutely. A Mumu getting taken out as they focus. A lot of the jungle getting some hate today. Like I said, hate and love, depending on how you want to look at it. Diana going out as well. That mandatory cloud, that's impact burst AP champions for him. They really want to get off the map.
Yeah, so the Nidalee is still up that we talked about. It looks like they've got one more ban here. They might throw it out there in the end. But if Mandatory Cloud picks it, it's open. A 40 KDA is pretty nice to have on your team. And we've seen him, not only does he have great statistics, but he's able to get them so many objectives by throwing out all these spears and getting the other team low before they even have to have a team fight engage. So
you know what? Crumbs was right with vision equals pressure, but so does low health.
Yeah. Spears to your head are also going to cause a lot of pressure.
Absolutely.
And the blue buff, that's one of the reasons why blue buff is so important versus Vulcan. If you're a team prepping for Vulcan, I would prep some blue buff invade strategies.
Top of the list.
If you can get your jungler to be aggressive and control Vulcan's blue buff, you get a huge step up on them because Mandatory Cloud really relies heavily on that. He plays a lot of the Nidalee and a lot of the Lux, which really enjoy that blue buff.
So Thresh is still open for MIA this game. Psycho Sid picking up the safe pick, Sona. So Vulcan can choose whether to go in and out of these fights. And that's Bloodwater's really, wheelhouse right there in Sona.
Yeah. He's actually the only one to use Nami in the LCS as well. He did that in one game. They were successful. So I was like, why haven't you brought it out again? And he's like, it's a very special pick. You have to be in the right moment to use that. And he hasn't done it again, but I'm sure everybody would be happy to see that. Not going to be this game. And like I said, the blue buff control is really important against Vulcan. It's not really Loudamortis' matchup. He always plays these tanky junglers. He said he doesn't want to fit into everyone else's Season 3 meta where you play these aggressive bruisers. He still plays the tanky CC-oriented junglers like a Mumu, and that's why they specifically banned it out against Complexity.
And it looks like Complexity tries to throw out a few of their own. Where are you going to go with this picks? As Vulcan says, we're not going to show you anything with support, but they may see Smithy coming out on Hecarim. He was the first one to kind of bring it back out in the LCS. Did amazing. People started to ban it against him, and he was like, I'll throw it to the wayside for now. So that would be an awesome pick. I hope he locks that in.
He really started their roll of wins when he chose Hecarim and he camped double lift really hard. Their win against CLG really got their momentum flowing for the LCS. It was because he repeated ganks over and over and over in that AD and support lane, and he really just kept double lift down the whole game, and it was on Hecarim that he did that. It was a really strong play. The only thing is this is now patch 3.05, in which Hecarim has received two rounds of balances already. They reduced they increased the cooldown on his Spirit of the Dread, which is the healing.
It's kind of like locked at a level 3 power.
Yeah, the sustain was just kind of out of control. People were just getting very frustrated with that. It was admittedly overpowered, but he's received 2 rounds of increases on that cooldown. And he has also received sort of an indirect nerf where Spirit of the Lizard Elder, the damage has been reduced 2 times on that as well. So it only goes from 6 to 40 now, true damage on Spirit of the Elder Lizard, which is where Hecarim players got a lot of their damage from, since he's all AoE, and he would basically hit the whole other team and get them burning for that true damage. So 2 sources kind of hit the popularity of Hecarim.
And we see a whole lot of crowd control coming out, and probably looks to be bringing out Annie in the LCS, unless that is a support Annie, but I highly doubt it.
They could do support Annie stun bottom lane, but we haven't seen that in the North American LCS yet. Zuna also hovering over MF. I'd be surprised because he usually goes with that Kog'Maw. It's like his go-to pick. It's that or the Tristana. But this time, Bloodwater right there may have made a call of his own, wanting some more AoE to go with this composition. The Sona combo with the MF is just, it's almost as potent as that sad bullet time where you have a Mumu in MF where the crescendo comes out, everyone's dancing, and she's just shooting you in the face the entire time.
I'm pretty sure Zuna was not on MF and Smithy definitely wasn't on Hecarim, but this is what they brought to the table yesterday. That Vladimir pick along with the Requiem, that Sona coming in as well. They were able to do very well. No, Zuna was on Tristana for this, so we'll have to see how he switches that up.
The AoE potential here for Vulcan is really, really high. Yeah. Everyone's got an AoE ultimate that they can lay down. Even Hecarim landing in with the fear around everywhere. Actually, it's not a fear. You get terror instead, which means that you're always running away from the champion, whereas fear is the one where you run in a random direction.
You go anywhere.
The fiddlestick CC that everyone always complains about. So long and so strong as well.
You know, it was the first thing one of the Brazilian summoners when we went to IEM Brazil said to Freak. He's like, Freak, tell Riot to take fear out of the game.
So we've started adding Terrify instead.
That's right.
So that's when you know you're really scared. You're running away from Hecarim the whole time.
Support coL for MIA coming in here. So this will be kind of a switch up for him. Complexity really pulling out all the stops now that they have gotten a bit of fresh blood onto the roster and probably bringing out that champion pool once again with the Annie lock-in. Smithy back on Hecarim. It's going to be great to see his lane control again as he gets out of the jungle so fast with that champion.
So really it's going to be up to Nick Wu and MIA to control the fates of the rest of their teammates. Nick Wu's the executioner. He's going to have to be finishing off people with that ultimate. And then MIA is the guardian angel. He's going to have to try and save the right person on his team and block the damage of Vulcan. The only problem I see with taking coL against this Vulcan team is that Vulcan is all AoE. And you can only protect one person from a source of damage with coL. So AoE teams really shine against coL, and I think that it won't be as big of a factor as support coL usually is against like burst teams.
Yeah, coming into this one, I feel like both teams went for comfort picks. They kind of knew what each other wanted from picks and bans because we saw that target love-hate. But now it was like, we feel comfortable on these champions, and obviously yesterday this is what Vulcan played, so you know they're in the comfort zone.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It looks like Psycho Sid going to run what he ran yesterday. He does not have the biscuit this time, so he changed up his mask. Oh, he still has the extra potion there with that Doran shield. So he's running mostly the same. Oh, no, he didn't have a biscuit yesterday either. So he is running the exact same thing. He's got his utility spec Vladimir that allows him to grab an extra health potion with that Doran shield and the 3% spell vamp with 3% lifesteal mastery as well.
Mandatory Cloud going 2 wards, 7 pots, 2 potions for middle. So he can continuously push that lane and try to get to that level 6 quick.
So the 3 red elixirs from Complexity right now mean that they could bully the level 1. If they wanted to group up, they could definitely go for it. There's a lot of AoE from Team Vulcan, though, with that Karthus Lay Waste can actually do a lot, and it's great at checking bushes. And Shen on Complexity means that if they did do an invade, which it looks like they might be doing a little bit late here, then he could land a flash taunt on whatever target they see. And if they're able to burst down Smithy.
Oh,
no
he gets necessary. Full range taunt. Smithy, get out of there. He has Ghost and it's on, but it's too much slow. The AoE from Varus. Gonna help bring that in.
There's the invade I was looking for, and they did not have to pop their red elixirs. That saves them a whole bunch of time and a whole bunch of early game pressure. Great play by Complexity. 2 days running, very well planned out level 1s.
That's almost 2 games in a row that somebody kind of just nonchalantly died there in the beginning of the game.
To Shen taunt. I'm talking about Shen is the master of these level 1s now in North America.
Oh, man.
Neither time having to burn flash either. He's just like, well, you're mine.
So let's take this out. So we're going to get Prolly maybe stealing away a few of these. Actually looks like he's going to give them all to Lauda Mortis. No experience gain there for him, and it gets a little help to the junglers. Good guy bros on both teams as we start off here. That 1 kill already putting a bit of gold lead in the favor of Nick Wu. Does he choose to use it? He does. He buys boots top, and that's going to hurt Psycho Sid quite a bit.
I was going to point out, Nick Wu, one of the best at 1 vs 1. He's up there with Mega Zero. If you give a advantage like boots at level 1 to him too, he's already got a red elixir. He's going to be very, very, very threatening in that top lane. He can zone, use his Q to get bleeds whenever he wants onto Psycho Sid. If Sid gets close enough, The saving grace for Psycho Sid is that if Nick Wu does use his Q, then he'll probably be shoving that lane passively because it is an AoE and it is going to hit all the minions.
Not too many other unorthodox buys here. It is quite cool to see MIA going for the red elixir as well, though, as it's one of the three you pointed out before. Loud Mortis staying strong in the jungle, and that Wraith Ward is going to allow him to keep the harass on Xmithy. He wants that blue buff. Zuna taking some damage down bottom as well. These guys are really trying to pressure that quick lead they had on Experience.
Good job by Loud Morris. He's not leaving the jungle either. He's staying in there by the red, making sure Xmithy does not get anything. Smithy's not going to chance it, though. He won't go for it. Grabbing the double golems. Good choice by him to get the experience, but that means the red steal will probably be successful as we have MIA even coming in to help him out.
So Loud Mortis does have that smite. He's just going to get safety out of this, and he is going to use the smite to take that out, leaving back the Lizards. And this is kind of something we've pointed out before. Oh, ManCloud flashing in. Does he have what he needs to take down Probably? Probably tries to get next to the minions to negate some damage, but it's not enough. Oh, the flash taunt coming in, and another kill coming in for kill for himself, but a 2-1 now for Complexity.
They also got a assist there for Probly. So that means it was definitely a win for Complexity, even though Probly's flash was down from that level 1, and Mentor Cloud wanted to take advantage. Loud Mortis was there because of the jungle pressure, and they had already burned the Ghost of Hecarim, so he had free reign there, able to trade out, and they also get the extra 50% of gold from having a supported kill. Very good trade for Complexity once again.
You know what? They did a great job right now of shutting down Xmithy. We know Hecarim to be that kind of snowbally jungler, and he has no chance right now. Everything's heating up for him, and he cannot get anywhere. Level 3 right now to the level 4 of Loud Mortis. Loud Mortis already giving that first blue buff away to Probly in middle. The advancements in the lanes are going to get big for these guys. Loud Mortis can choose to focus whatever he wants now.
It's very interesting that the bottom lane for Complexity has gone dual elixir once again. Only MIA has popped his, though, so they're spreading out their pressure.
Yep.
As long as one person has a red elixir up, then they have a huge advantage in just pure AD. And since coL is an auto attacker herself, she's sort of a hybrid there, very offensive support. They're able to put on a lot of pressure while they still have the elixir on brunch if they do get ganked.
So we see Probly actually going for about a level 4 blue elixir here for a quick burst in lane. He has that blue buff, and would he really be able to take on ManCloud in that 1v1 right now?
This is one of those surprising things where Probly's style of playing a champion that people haven't played against in a while, he's hoping that Mandatory Cloud hasn't run into Annie. Annie's not quite as less seen as, say, Ziggs and like something else in that mid lane, but he's going for that surprise factor. And if you add a blue elixir to the surprise factor, then he very well could 100% burst you down, and he knows that Mandatory Cloud's flash is down from that last kill that he just got.
So we see Xmithy now trying to make presence in the lane. Loud Mortis has gave him a hard time, so he is looking to capitalize here. There's no ward and not even safe play call coming in there. But he's going to back off. Or stay there, actually.
I like this. Keeping pressure on the lane that they know the flash is down. Loud Mortis returns to the mid lane. They have a pink ward up there, so he's pretty sure that Mandatory Cloud doesn't have vision of him anymore. Mandatory Cloud doing the right thing, though. CSing from afar, playing safe as he can. Probably would like to set this up with a stun and then have Shen come in to follow up with a taunt, but Loud Mortis gets bored of waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. These a few of the junglers will wait for quite some time, but these guys definitely want to stay mobile, knowing Loud Mortis and Xmithy. They have to make an impact. And look at Loud Mortis. He is just waltzing around, really not even second-guessing his clicks right now. Seeing on the mid, will he come back? And still, good focus here with that flash down.
Yeah. It's nice to see Shen being an invade jungle champion, because usually, you know, he's not one of the fastest clear times. But since they got that early advantage, he's really pushing it here, and they're actually going to go put some pressure on the turret instead of waiting for Mandatory Cloud to come out, because he's playing so safe. They are able to zone him away from that turret minion kill at least.
There's the wall going down. ManCloud's getting a little impatient here. He wants to get back in front of his turret, and he tries to pick up a few there as we take stock of the CS. 46-39 is probably he's having a pretty good time in that lane, but I think that was from ManCloud going down, so he's keeping the CS in check right now.
I am impressed with Psycho Sid up top, okay?
Absolutely.
He only burned one
tough lane.
1 HP potion. Niku had First Blood, he had Boots, he had a red elixir. That was a very dangerous lane, and look at the CS. Psycho Sid's doing fine. On all he's still got that Doran shield. That's going to pay off later in the game too, because he hasn't burned consumables.
Oh, there's a lock-in. You can see the damage Psycho Sid has to mess around with here. He's going to still get that bleed on as well, so he's just going to have to transfuse back up. Into 4, 7, and 9. Only 7 now. That cooldown isn't very gracious.
Brunch going with that BF sword in the bottom. He's just picked that up. That's going to be a ton of burst once he pops his red elixir. So Zuna really does have to be careful, and you can see it in the positioning from Bloodwater there. He's sort of to the back of the AD carry. He doesn't really want to poke, even though he is Sona. He's pretty scared. Psycho Sid has to pull again very low.
He should be okay. He transfuses one more time to stay alive, but here comes a Requiem for Prolly. Prolly throws down the barrier. He may have the damage with the Shen coming in. Oh, he wasn't the barrier. I don't even see Loudamortis coming in on that. Beautiful job by Laude.
Yeah, that was the Shen. Oh, it probably does not have barrier, but
Not
he
at
does
all.
have blue elixir, and he was able to get that surprise burst
So much
off,
shininess.
baiting him in there. This is another case of great communication. Shen in the jungle hits 6 a bit later, will catch you off guard. Good job by him making use of everything that was available, knowing that the flash was... Oh, there we go. They are pushing pretty hard on that. The middle turret goes down. Psycho Sid returns to top, though. Now he was forced out, falling a bit behind in that CS.
They will start to back off of this, knowing that happened in mid. Will they try to go for Dragon? It looks like ManCloud is back with Xmithies. They're going to go to the left side, though. They won't be in for this first Dragon. Going to Complexity, and they keep not the earliest of their dragons, but that early dragon run going.
We could see a bullet time coming across here. I mean, they have a lot of damage. They can force them out. They have great vision. There's the bullet time.
Oh, Bloodwater was not ready. Zuna definitely made that call before Bloodwater said anything, and it may cause trouble here. Brunchu very low. Blood may take the kill. He does. Didn't think Zuna was going to be in range, and a very risky call puts them in line to take the dragon. We do still have Loudamortis on the outside, taken by Xmithy. Oh, locked in with the apprehend. Could he get it down? The Hemo Plague will not be enough damage, and everybody pieces out from Dragon as it goes to Xmithy.
Nick Wu finally gets his blood, killing Vladimir, but the calls right there were just a little bit off for Complexity. The vision was up for Vulcan. The people were there for Vulcan. They had an ultimate on Sona as well as an ultimate on MF ready to contest that dragon. Right. Bloodwater was like, yeah, easy, we'll come in, we'll contest this. They come out with kills and the free dragon. So that was extremely good for Vulcan, bringing them back into this game, still 1,000 gold behind though.
So we see 1-0-1 now coming in for Zuna, picking up a few Dorans actually, instead of recipeing into his first build right now. We see Brunchy with that Bloodthirster coming out, as we talked about yesterday. Varus is one of those champions in his kit with a Bloodthirster. It's not more effective, but really effective.
Yeah, some people even like the burst on him from getting the Blade of the Rune King. I see it a lot in solo queue. Very surprising when he does pop off those stacks of his passive.
Bloodwater returning to lane. He's actually having a good game for himself too. He did pick up that last kill, as we said. Zuna just wasn't in range. And he got himself, he already picked up the Sight Stone from that. So they'll be able to control the bottom of the map a little bit more. Xmithy may be able to focus on other lanes. Like we said, Sid wasn't having a terrible time, but that first kill, Nick Wu definitely started to take an advantage.
We see this a lot from Nick Wu, especially. He loves to get multiple red elixirs. He doesn't stop at the first red elixir, keeping that for level 1. He likes to keep on buying those all game long. He pours a lot of money into those, but it really does help him continue to bully that lane. He's ahead in CS. This is an amazing defensive ward right there by Psycho Sid, by the way. So that he can see Prolly come in, because that would have been devastating for him. He definitely would have gone down.
With the amount of crowd control and damage, the pool pretty much would have just helped kill himself. 11 minutes and a half coming in here. 5-3 in favor of Complexity. Just 1,000 gold lead. Quite a change in pace from our last game in kills and in objective control here. We see every lane just duking it out in the current meta, if you will. The AD's no swap there. Like we said, we're watching this Nick Wu Psycho Sid up top. The apprehend just misses on the pool. And a little bit of aggression shown there. So Nick Wu definitely in fight mode. He thinks he can pretty much go head-to-head with Psycho Sid right now.
And he can. Look at him chasing him out of the turret. Barely out of range right there. That was pretty lucky for Psycho Sid. We do have Hecarim coming in to back him up. I just want to point out what Mandatory Cloud did. Since his tower went down middle early, he's placed 2 wards in the middle on both sides of the river, so that even though the turret is down, they still get the vision of Complexity's movements, and he can still play safe. He can still CS from afar, and it's not hurting them quite as much as it should.
Taking a look at some of the gold here. Who's really holding it? It's going to be 1,300 in the hands of Prolly, so he's waiting to get something for his build as we go back. Looking to finish that Athenes most likely quite soon, unless he goes for the Morello Namicon. Be quite interesting. He really is Prolly. We don't know what he's going to build.
Prolly is a very surprising character to have in here. But we definitely know what Karthus is going to be going for. Mandatory Cloud, the stacking build where he starts out with a tier, then builds into a Rod of Ages. If you're able to get that Rod of Ages around 14 minutes, that's usually the mark people have been going for in this NA LCS. And ooh, we have Prolly again. See, once that mid turret's down, he's roaming all the time. Looks like he wants to dive.
Oh, the Shen ulti coming in on the Tibbers, and it looks like they're going to be able to get the second part of the damage down as well. That was awesome to take control with the shield of that turret aggro. Prolly on the backside. MIA has to be careful. Like Smithy dives straight in, head first to the fight, but everybody just gets dispersed away, and he can't get the Q to hit. They're slowed from the Varus E. Prolly still wants blood right now. He just takes down Bloodwater. Doesn't even look twice. I think Smithy cannot answer right now, but we do have ManCloud trying to come in and help, and it's only enough to force Complexity away.
Yeah, even Bloodwater there, wandering a bit too close. That's that surprise factor, and he can just burn you down. Now we have Nick Wu apprehending Psycho Sid and chasing him down.
Could he still go onto the turret? It's not going to matter, and he pulled at the end there. 20% of his HP went with the Ignite. Bit of a mistake.
There's nothing he could do at that point. He was in big trouble. Nick Wu also gets the turret. This is huge for Complexity. They are just shoving it in. They've got all three outer turrets down, so they can go onto the secondary turrets right here. We see Dragon coming up in 1 minute, and there's no vision currently up for Vulcan.
Looks like, oh, I thought Nick Wu was going to be pushing, but he seems to be backing as he did not see that blue buff up. They're just trying to push every advantage they have right now. Good to kill top lane, make sure the jungle is clear, and Vulcan cannot pick up their resources. Bottom lane with Zuna and Bloodwater. The CS there is 114 for Zuna to Brunch U, and MIA's 125 on Brunch. So that Bloodthirster is finished, and it actually looks like Zuna has finished up a Bloodthirster for himself as well.
I like the aggressive use of this Shen ult too, because Prolly having that mid turret down, he tried to roam top, there was a ward up top.
Right.
Even though there's wards in the middle, he tried to roam down bottom, finally gets into a good position. They don't hesitate. They tower dive, they use all of their ultimates. MIA actually doing a good job there with his coL ultimate, saving some damage as well, and they were rewarded tremendously with a few kills down bottom and top.
And it really was taken into consideration this game, if it hasn't been, that there's a Karthus in the game. Bulwark is the first item that Loudamort has finished, and it's making these dives a little bit easier, knowing that, you know, Requiem is still going to be coming on the backside of that engage.
Yeah, tons of magic damage here for Vulcan with all those AoEs. Definitely a good purchase for him. The dragon is up, and they do go for that. It looks like Smithy's on the outside here. It would be very hard for him to just walk up and smite it from the riverside, but it looks like they're going to go for it.
This was the engagement last time. Here comes Smithy. He does not get it that time. Where's the Crescendo? The bullet time starts. Bloodwater doesn't get the ultimate off just yet. He goes down before Crescendo. It's going to be Mandatory Cloud flashing in, getting himself in the middle of this fight. He goes down as well. Smithy may not be able to help here. The Bulwark coming into play. A lot of Mortis going away from the team here. Double kill coming in for Mandatory Cloud as he goes down valiantly for his team. Nick Wu's apprehend at max range, and he picks up the kill.
The speed boost there from support coL as well, doing work. Complexity so well coordinated in that fight. They killed Bloodwater before the Crescendo was able to come off. That could have been a game changer.
Absolutely, and it seemed like that happened last time too. Zuna bullet timed. He got hit by that chain of chaos from Varus. Stopped the bullet time. Crescendo wasn't there. They need to coordinate that.
And again, Prolly with the surprise factor. He's built the Deathfire Grass so early
we were both
on
wrong.
Annie.
Well, I was wrong. You didn't say anything.
he's just going for that complete burst, just trying to 100% people, catching them off guard, and then just creating chaos throughout the rest of the fight with some AoE stuns. They're backing on a ward right now. It looks like Bloodwater actually stops him. There's no one to follow him up, so it's just a little friendly poke then.
A little harass coming in as he was looking through the store trying to buy. 17 minutes in, see what they do go back to buy. Like I said, he finished that Bulwark. They're finally going to get back onto the fountain and get these purchases in. And looking for it, he looks like he's going to build, I don't even know, Kindle Gem into the Locket of the Iron Solari most likely as he picks up the Ruby Health Crystal that has been picked, or Ruby Health. the Kindle Gem on Xmithy as well. So the Locket coming out there as they're trying to get into that fight phase with the damage that Mandatory Cloud is doing. Xmithy's not being able to follow up just quite yet. We saw that last fight.
Yeah, Vulcan really have to execute their strategy perfectly, timing all of the CCs. Like you said, if they aren't able to land a crescendo, Mandatory Cloud takes so much.
Oh, what were you saying about crowd control? There's a crescendo to come back across and brunch you. 100-0 in just a few seconds. Lamborghini's going to be looking at that one. And we see going back across land. Oh, Prowley's going to be getting hit up. There's Zuna on the left side, but Bloodwater keeps him alive that time. This is the fight that they needed. And Loud Mortis just flashes out. Psycho Sid, the turret takes him down. Prowley from the grave.
Psycho Sid really, really wanted to finish off Loud Mortis there. Pays for it with his life. If Psycho Sid had not gone down, I would have said, yes, that was the perfect execution from Vulcan, because all the members coming out with such low HP means that they were able to manage the damage so well. Definitely still a huge win for them. Oh my goodness. Zuna, not scared at all, stands by his teleport. He was ready to go home, and Nick Wu just misses out on the apprehend.
So we're coming up on 20 minutes into this one, just about 30,000 gold to 25.5. That lead in favor of Complexity. Nick Wu loving the 1v1 top this game, 4-0 and 0. Gets that Hex Drinker early to pretty much just push Vladimir off from that damage. And he goes for the Sunfire Cape. We're going to see the split push coming in from him. Is really Complexity has a 4 dominant push that they can roll with here.
That was a huge confidence booster for Vulcan right there. They were definitely on the back heel, and they just turned it around completely. Now they know that if they play it well, they still can win these team fights. They are definitely looking up right now. And Mandatory Cloud, like I said, he went with that stacking build. He's got his Rods of Ages ticking, so at least he's going to be increasing in power. And Vulcan have most of their money concentrated on these 2 carries. They've got Mandatory Cloud on Karthus with most of it, and then Zuna's the next richest person on their team. Great place for all their money to be, even though they are behind.
Both Bloodwater and MIA picking up that Page's lucky pick. We'll have to see if MIA actually chooses to go for this ability power build this game. He's kind of on one of, Elise is still the other one, but coL's one that would benefit from that as well. It'll be interesting to see if he shies away from it here with the comp they have going. Complexity positioning now for the Baron, and they're going to hide in the side here. Do they have enough to gap close over? They can taunt out. They can grab in. They definitely have enough to execute
Nick
over the wall.
Ghost,
they can
so
get
he
in
can
here.
apprehend.
They're going to go out. Probably sees Xmithy coming around. Will he be close enough? Oh, they're just not able to get in range and figure out the ward that thwarted him.
Yeah, little unfortunate for them right there. It was a good trap, but there's no flash on Nick Wu, so Nick Wu has the Ghost to be able to go over and apprehend people. They're going to get this middle turn. No, they're going for the taunt.
This is going to be big. Loudamortis took a good amount of damage. His ultimate is down, so he can't help. There's the Ghost coming in. The apprehend on 2. He gets a good amount of damage there. The bleed is on, but they cannot follow up with Nick Wu. That's some high cooldowns he's waiting on to get that crowd control back. Back across the invulnerability used very early in this fight. Xmithy gets a heal up from Bloodwater there. They turn across the bullet time. Mandatory Cloud is too far out of the fight to help his team, but he gets in with the flash finally and only gets a bit of damage down. Here's the Requiem. It could be Prowley. It is going to be Nick Wu. Prowley gets out by the skin of his teeth.
That was only 20 HP for Prowley at the end of that one. Very, very close, but it was only a 1-for-2 trade. Complexity did the flash 3-for-1 trade.
Oh, MIA doesn't even have to build that AP. He flashes in to go aggro. Brunchu could have this on Bloodwater. Where's the E? Get that AoE out. There it is, the slow onto Bloodwater. Oh, Loudamortis, what are you doing with the KS?
Make that 4-for-1 MIA right there, the surprise flash. Great play from Complexity to really boost that one. Now they've extended their gold lead, and they're heading top. They just want to clear the minions up there.
4-0 and 9 Loudamortis.
Are you kidding?
Have given that back.
Are you kidding me right now? They don't want to clear the minions. They're going for the Baron.
2-man Baron. Actually, Loudamortis is going to teleport in, so they played this one perfectly here. It's going to be a rush from Xmithy and Psycho Sid. They may have the speed, and they are going to be able to push them off with a little bit of aggression.
Okay, they are kidding me. They get out of that Baron pit quickly, which is a good choice against an AoE team comp like Vulcan has. A nice little play right there. If they had pulled off the successful sneaky Baron at that 21-minute mark, that could have definitely been an easy step to closing out. But Prowley getting very deep here. This could be bad for him.
Oh, Prowley, he does have his flash up. He has the summoners, but there is Tibbers coming down onto Mandatory Cloud. Can he wipe him? He does. They go for the trades there. Psycho Sid was able to pick up the kill on the Retribution. But it looks like Mandatory Cloud's going to be down as Dragon now goes over. If they can't have Baron, they're going to take the next one.
If Brawley was going to stay and die like that 1 versus 1, he didn't have to burn his flash. He was right next to Mandatory Cloud. He was thinking about escaping, and then he changed his mind. Nope, I'm going for Karthus. And end up burning his flash too, but still trading, so.
Absolutely. Well, we saw, how he played yesterday, face on the keyboard, so maybe he just hit the flash
You're
on
right,
accident.
you're right. Flash was too close to the rest of the skills.
Got to put it over on the numpad. Look, Smithy chased out here. Nick Wu coming in. He actually hasn't built too much more damage. Actually went for Fear Boots. He's going to get some movement speed out of his attacks there, and he can really just keep the blood stacks ticking as he rolls himself into the fight. We saw MIA coming in with a little bit early of an intervention last time, but they actually didn't need it yet. So coming into that, we'll have to see if they can really get through an intervention, one of the Requiems, instead of just kind of using it to engage.
coL is also really squishy. Whenever I'm against a coL team, I usually go for the coL, and this is a support coL. So he is going to be even more squishy than regular. He's already used 400 of his gold on an Oracles. So if they are able to ever catch him out, then that'll be huge ultimate down, as well as being able to clean him up pretty quickly. He's very susceptible to AoE as well, since he is that low HP. So Vulcan, they still have a decent chance here. We've seen them pull out team fights being down more gold than this.
Zuna sitting on 2,000 gold right now. That attack speed's going to have to come in sometime soon. Absolutely holding off on this next fight. He does have the W to kind of give himself that steroid and get the shots going.
He could go full ultimate bot and grab up some armor penetration too if he felt like that. It probably won't be a Black Cleaver because there's not a huge source of other physical damage on his team. So if he was going to get penetration, it would just be that last whisper for himself. Complexity burning down this Baron so quickly, it looks like they're going to get it before Smithy gets there.
I like the positioning of Annie on the right side, and that's why Mandatory Cloud almost gets taken down. The blue buff on Prowly means he can continuously throw out these spells. He's taking quite a bit of damage, but look at he's able to zone the entire team by himself. Requiem coming out. Where's the intervention? It's going to be the Shen out to save Prowly. Bullet time goes across. Nikru finally dropping one. Brunchu has fallen, so the AD for Vulcan is down here. The chase is on. Nick Wu. Bloodwater, why did you turn around? Oh, he doesn't get the apprehend. Bloodwater being very tricky there with the power chords, and they all back off from the Baron.
Yeah, Nick definitely wanted another kill right there, but he's unable to catch him. And Complexity come out with a Baron plus a 1-for-2 trade. They are definitely rolling through here. Probably going to clean up a lot of minions down bottom as well. He zoned so well that team fight. He was able to burst down Mandatory Cloud, like he said, and then he was still a threat after using his combo.
Probably picking up a huge minion wave in that bottom lane. 8-4-8 again, showing very strong in his second showing. Complexity here in week 8. More defense and armor being built up by Nick Wu. He's not worried about the damage right now. He is just a source of harassment for the other team. And again, probably picks up the blue elixir. We see the Seraph's Embrace. That was finished not quite a while ago, but has already been used. So definitely finished quite some time. The pickup spike in power, Mandatory Cloud's needlessly large rod.
So Zuna's actually gone with another Bloodthirster on MF instead of going for Armor Pen, because really the only one he would be using that last whisper against would be Nick Wu, and that's not a big deal for him. All the rest of the members, he's going to want the full AD ratio from his ultimate. It has an amazing AD ratio. You don't have to have penetration. So he's going with double Bloodthirsters just to be a really, really strong bullet time.
Life-steely kind of guy. So the Spirit Stone still not really brought into anything else here for Rick Smithy. He's trying to just, like I said, finish that locket, which has been built for quite some time here. Loudamortis has been able to finish that locket on top of a bulwark and bring a Madrids into the picture for himself. So we can definitely see the difference between that 4-0 and 11 and 0-4 and 5 as they pressure this middle turret, Kobe. We're about 27 minutes in here, reaching that late part of the game. Everybody's getting towards it. Oh my god, a 4-person flash top! Mandatory Cloud gets hit up right away. The Seraph's Embrace can't keep him alive, and they are just fighting on Defile right now. They do not give any cares. Brunchu on the outside looking to get hit by the Skittles, and he needs to get out. Double kill for Nick Wu.
Brunch is the only one without the Baron buff, but he has a red elixir to pad his stats too, so he's definitely buffed up as well. You can see how Prawley and Nick Wu are on the same page right there. They both wanted to go in, flashing and ghosting. Great engage by them. They're rewarded with 2 turrets and an inhibitor.
That was a picture-perfect flash taunt, whether he got the 5th person or not. Xmithy home guards to get to the inhibitor, but it's not going to deter these guys a stun. No, it's just the auto attack coming out from Prawley, and they start to back off. Baron still has a 4th to go.
They are now... They're not going to take anything else. They're going to go back and purchase with everything. Everything on the map is gone right now. All of the buffs, the Baron, the Dragon, and Complexity still have outer turrets standing. So they are in an amazing place right now.
3 Giants belts actually just purchased for Complexity. Right into Lauda Mortis for Prawley as well. Looks like you're going to have a Rylas coming out there, and Brunch knows he needs to stay alive in these fights, so he wants to be able to take a little bit more of that burst damage as well. Because, you know, that kind of helps with the Requiem. You know, you're getting bursted right now. Start building that health.
I like Nick Wu's build here, upgrading his boots too with the furs, so he can just even stick on champions even more. Not only does he get that speed increase from people nearby bleeding, but he's also got, every time he hits somebody, gets another 15%.
Absolutely, he can really keep himself in that fight, and maybe not need to be somebody that MIA focuses, as we were talking about before. The Randuins, you know, just stacking on that and synergizing with his build, very complimentary there. Maybe finishing into the Leandries, but it looks like it's actually going to be the Rylas for Prawley. They're looking to keep that stick going, you know, to synergize with Nick Wu, to synergize with their builds.
For those people who haven't played, Darius, the movement speed bonus from nearby bleeding champions is 5% per champion. So it actually stacks up really quickly.
Well, considering if what just happened in a 4-person taunt, you're getting 25% or 20% movement speed or 25. That's quite big. Nick Wu now getting himself into this fight with the team, as you see Lauda Mortis and him putting up a meat wall for this turret phase.
Yeah, so Complexity answering Vulcan's AoE comp with AoE of their own. We saw it with that engage right there, just so well executed. If you can land a taunt like that and then set up an Annie ultimate with stun ready, Nick Wu goes in, it was just devastating. And they're looking very aggressive right now, going on the bottom lane, trying to shove this one into.
You can see Brunch definitely focusing out the movement of Mandatory Cloud with his ease. That hail of arrows throws it down so ManCloud can't push past his wall. Oh, try for the grab over the wall by Nick Wu. They're doing all the tricks, pulling out all the stops here. I wouldn't be surprised if Lauda Mortis and Nick Wu would initiate this with that chain or with a quick taunt if somebody steps out. Just one step too many.
They're definitely going to have to be careful because, like, we've got a flash on Psycho Sid, and Psycho Sid also has a Zhonya's. But if he does get caught in that CC, you won't be able to use those escapes. So he has to be very careful still. And whichever target is right in front and in taking the target, MIA can just use his intervention on, and they won't take any damage from the turrets.
Still pushing this bottom lane. They have Lauda Mortis up top for the split push. Very reminiscent of what these guys have been trying to do throughout this season, and it's great to see these younger teams coming into the late game, still pressuring, not looking like they're kind of spreading themselves out, figuring what to do. This is very definitive.
Yeah, Complexity definitely look more decisive now. They're really on the same page here, and they have a Shen on their team. So the go-to strategy is Shen, go split push. We're so strong right now. We can keep the rest of the team bottled up down here in the bottom, and we just really have to play the waiting game. We don't have to rush anything. We don't have to dive this turret, because if there's one saving grace for Vulcan right now, is that they have amazing AoE and amazing counter initiate. If Complexity dive and Bloodwater gets off a good crescendo, they can still turn this around.
Absolutely. That flash taunt was just as exciting. Oh, Vulcan, you smell like burning. Nick Wu trying to come in. Brunch getting pushed out here, but they do get a great intervention on him that time. He pushes Zuna out of the fight. Can he finish? Brunch actually is going to go down. He will play Requiem coming out. Can they turn the fight around? The double kill, as you said, that area of effect having a big play here, but it looks like they are forced to get out of this one. Xmithy is on the backside of them, but not able to come back in.
That's the surprise factor. People have not having seen Annie. She's amazing at initiate. Oh, Smithy goes for the sneak attack from the
no, he gets stunned up one more. Can he get it? It does not happen. The taunt's a little too late. Psycho Sid forced to the base.
He made that little girl pay.
Oh my gosh, 26-14 here is Complexity almost doubling the kills of Vulcan, but Vulcan finding a way to lock the door into their base. They don't lose that turret. It was pushed at so long by Complexity. So Vulcan may be finding some ground here. A good fight for both teams. Vulcan coming out on top of it.
We have to count up how many times they've been able to 100% Bloodwater without him being able to use his crescendo, because that is huge. You take out that huge counter initiate that I was talking about. That's Vulcan's great strength right now. If they just burst down Bloodwater, then it's not a factor at all.
Oh, Bloodwater is trying to go in. Not a big enough power core to take down Nick Wu right now. You're going to need a bigger amplifier than that. Zanya's on both Karthus now and Psycho Sid. They're going to be able to start playing tricks in these fights. And, you know, if they were kind of had that in their mentality before that the game is tough, they're going to start being able to pull out all the stops on Complexity with these engagements.
Complexity look like a completely different team right now. I am in awe.
Branduin's as well doubled up for Complexity. Like we have Wraith Collar coming, or Twin Shadows, should say, coming out for MIA. So he does go for a little AP in his build, but this time it's way more supportive for the team.
Yeah, he's actually been using that pretty effectively. He's got 2 viable slows now, both that item active as well as his Q. He's caught out a couple people, and he's really had a good support kill game all around. They're burning down this Baron. They've got so much damage that there's not really much hope for Vulcan getting there in time. Plus, Vulcan don't have vision, so they don't want to get caught. We see so many teams lose out in the Baron dance. It's just so dangerous to run into this team that they don't even want to chance it.
Absolutely, and sometimes we even say, and it just shows how strong Complexity is, because we usually say this isn't something any team wants to chance right now, but they went with that without even batting an eye, and now we're going to push. Their blue has just come up. Looks like they may see if, nope, that one is down. Looks like Loudamortis has this blue. It is going to be Vulcan's red that just came up as well, so they're denied of those buffs as they are now just turtling out that base, and actually Complexity is going to grab it. They had the marker.
Glad we have Prawley in the LCS now. He's really shaking this up. This is not the stale North American meta that you may be used to, okay? He's bringing the burst. He's bringing the flash engages from the AP bid that they'll full damage. Actually, he's got that giant spell. You talked about the 4 giant spells that were sitting on their team. So he's actually going to be going with that Rally's Crystal Scepter after this. So he's even going to be adding a little frost to his fire and some extra CC.
And he actually is running the Alacrity upgrade boots, which is pretty sweet as well. I know back in the day, or maybe even still, people used to run the movement speed on Annie, so you can get in range for everything, get those stuns, and he is really just trying to synergize with everything that this composition and himself brings to the table.
Yeah, he has been using that flash fairly aggressively, so it's interesting to see him go with the move speed boots instead of the flash reduction upgrade. But his flash is almost up once again, and we will be ready for some more action.
We'll have to see. Looking around, there is the Shen ultimate up as well. Requiem is up for Mandatory Cloud, and the Crescendo is still up for Bloodwater. Let's see if he can get it out this time. Will he be able to make the calls to bring the key impact changes of this fight into their favor? Loudamortis and Psycho Sid back and forth up top, really just actually trading damage on the objectives and not each other. There is a lockdown, possibly. Smithy locks it up. The Crescendo on the Probably. They know where the burst is coming from, but there's just too many shields right now. Timbers comes out and they return the damage. Brunchu coming up big on the outside. Mandatory Cloud has nobody to help him after the Zonias. A Disintegrate or Incinerate will shut him down, but it's going to be MIA. No, Probably actually did get it. Requiem now coming out. Should be alive on both of those. Vulcan, Zuna, and Psycho Sid. The bullet time across on the Brunchu. They're stuck in there. Can they continue to go in? Complexity has control of the base. Vulcan looking to get into their own base now.
The reason Zuna still had his bullet time at the end of that fight is because Nick Wu and Loudamortis bullied him, and they're just going to go right for the Nexus. Looks like this is game.
Absolutely. Oh, the dodge down from Psycho Sid allows Zuna to get apprehended in. Nick Wu can't even get damage there, and Complexity takes down Vulcan.
You can see they're hyped up, probably jumping out of his chair. Actually has to go by his shoes. Nick Wu definitely happy right now.
Absolutely.
The
double axe fist down onto the necks of Vulcan as they just bring them out of this match. Back and forth, another high kill game, 29-14, 63,000 to 49,000. Probably just trolling Brunch there. You can see Vulcan a little disheartened here discussing what happened, but more than happy to say congratulations.
Yeah, they just got surprised, I'd say. That's
Absolutely
definitely what happened. So they're going to definitely go back, look at the VODs, study up. They're a good team at reviewing their mistakes, and they'll come back next week with some countermeasures at least in place.
So probably coming out here, another new champion. Ziggs his first appearance, Annie for his second appearance, and he comes out stellar once again, really being somebody who, you know, they didn't know how to play against it. The new shield, the new damages, another shield with Shen, and he took the brunt of that fight, including Crescendo, and still came out.
So let's take a look at the replay from this 3-for-0 tower dive that went down. It was just so well executed. Let's see what exactly happened here. We see Prawley in the side waiting. Loud and Mortis comes in the bottom. Here's that taunt you were talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it was almost 5. Bloodwater got off a Crescendo in this fight, but it did not matter. Prawley followed that up with Nick Wu so well. He's got the AoE stun too. Nick, you can see, not done dunking, and Brunch at the bottom didn't go down at the end either. Very, very well played.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So Nick Wu going very strong in lane. Seemed like Vulcan liked what happened yesterday. Bloodwater said, let's roll the same strategy. We have the AoE, we have the Karthus, we have Vladimir coming in up top with the Sona Crescendo to equal out and really toss that damage in. But Complexity had their number. Probably
just really reminds me of this quote from Reaper D. Reaper D would definitely love to have Prawley in his end because he said that you gain so much from disorder in League of Legends. If your team uses something different every game, other teams can't research you. They can't prepare a strategy to take you down. And that's really the philosophy that Prawley uses, is unpredictability. And it worked out so well. It's really fun to watch as well. I'm
Absolutely.
sure everyone at home is going to be looking forward to Complexity games like all week now.
It's kind of hard to beat something when it doesn't have any habits, right? And that's what Prawley brings to the table. All right, so don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll sit down with Loud and Mortis and Nick Wu from Complexity, and then Marn looks to keep the wins rolling in and catch GGU daydreaming. Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. Rivington the third here in the interview lounge with Nick Wu and Loud Mortis of Complexity after a pretty dominant win coming into Vulcan. Both of you kind of presenting some fresh squads here. Loud Mortis, this one for you. How does it feel now coming in with Prolly back on the team?
Naturally, right away, we still had some of our old synergy back on Legion, and he brings a lot of fresh ideas to the team, you know. And most of all, like, he brings like discipline, because like he like quit school. He has a major in college for math, and he quit school, you know, flew across the country, and it's like, you know, you're not gonna make someone, you know, give up their life and just fuck around. Like, it's not a game. It's like it's a job, and we want to have fun, and the best way to have fun is to win. And you know, he's helping us learn and present ourselves more professionally and practice better. So I'm loving it.
Absolutely. And Nick Wu, the top lane for you obviously must have gotten a little easier, knowing that so much pressure now can come from mid. You obviously like the 1v1. Is it more comfortable up there?
Yeah, it definitely is more comfortable up top when I know I could kind of do what I want to do without much worry about where the jungler is or if I'm getting roamed on by mid or anything like that. And it's always nice to know that my mid almost always has pressure, you know. It's a great feeling.
So knowing most of Complexity has a pretty good champion pool, with Proudly having a bigger champion pool, does that even help you guys out more too? Were you more, don't have the word, but are you more likely to play different champions now?
Yeah, I think with more champions, we bring more diversity and more comp ideas to our team. So probably could play Ziggs. We have new poke options or something like that. Or he played Annie today. And as you can see, it was really good.
What probably really helps us do is he helps us like break the meta, because you know we're like, what should we pick top? Oh, Rumble. Everyone else is picking it, and he's like, you know, you pick what you're good at. It's not necessarily what champions are OP. It's what champions you're OP at. And Nick Wu showcased his Darius as one of those.
Absolutely. And with that, Darius, how did you feel? You saw Vulcan play Psycho Sid play Vladimir yesterday. What was that matchup for you like?
He did it for me. But before going into the game, we had expected he might play it because he played it last time. And I played it a couple times in solo queue, and I always thought it was a skill-based matchup. And I got a lead with the first blood. And with boots, I could really pressure him because my Q outtrades all his stuff, his early game, and his transfusion's on a huge cooldown. So I can really put the pressure on, and I did. And eventually, I was up like maybe 30 CS, and you know I was dunking him and stuff. So. Yeah, the matchup is skill-based, but I did get a lead, and then I carried it from there.
Absolutely. So the level 1, was it just you guys wanted to go in? Usually people are invading you because you have a mana-dependent jungler. But going into that, was that homework that you guys were thinking to catch Xmithy there, or was he just sleeping?
Yeah, he was just kind of caught out of position there. We knew we had a very strong level 1 because we had Annie's cone stun, Shen's taunt. We had a lot of follow-up damage from Darius, and then Varus's E does a lot. So basically, we went in there knowing we were going to win a level 1 fight. So what we were trying to do is basically just get wards up, you know, like bow flex, as we call it, when you like pretend you have a bigger advantage than you do, and run in and put wards in their jungle so you can get vision. Because we wanted probably to have a 1v1 middle against Karthus. That's why we picked Annie, and we wanted Nick to have a 1v1 top, because we thought Darius would be a better 1v1er than a 1v2er. So what we were really trying to do is identify where their lanes were going to go by warding deep in their jungle. But we saw Xmithy there, and I was like, wow, this guy has Ghost, he doesn't have Flash. So I leveled Taunt right over there. I hate leveling Taunt on jungle Shen, but I mean, if it's going to give Nick a kill advantage, I mean, it's almost worth it. And yeah, after that, we just kept the pressure up on his jungle. We took his next red, and Nick was able to do his 1v1, and so was Prolly.
So knowing that these new compositions are working, are you guys pressuring yourself to learn a lot more comps, or kind of still going to roll with what works?
Well, last night I probably instituted a rule where every game we each have to play 2 solo queue games of new champions so we can keep it fresh, you know. Stale teams, like, I'm not going to necessarily say all the top teams are stale, but like CLG, they're kind of like figured out. They have a support top, they have, you know, double lift and link carry them. And those teams that are kind of figured out, you can see them slumping. So it's like we want to stay ahead of the curve. We don't want to be slumping. We want to be the teams forcing these other teams to slump by constantly reinventing the meta.
Absolutely. And Nick, you know, this has to be something that's also super fun in the games, knowing that you guys are bringing out something new, and you kind of just go in there with a smile on your face.
Yeah, it's definitely very fun because I never usually get to play Darius because we had kind of wrote him off as, well, I'm especially myself too, because some games he just doesn't cut it. You know, he gets kited too easily, or his late game isn't really that good, and he only fits into a specific comp. And I'm really glad that we got to play him because I love playing him. And I'd love to bust out some other characters that I normally play that we hadn't thought were viable before Probably had kind of joined us. So, stay tuned.
All right, so one more question, and I'll give it to you. For anybody in the LCS now, obviously you want to beat them all, but now that Probably's on the team, you guys kind of have this kickstart. Who are you really looking to take down?
We're really looking to take down just everybody. We're really looking just to be, just one of the best, the best. And I can't say that I, target one team more than another. I think I want to take them all down.
Absolutely. It's got to be the best choice in the first place. You guys just had an amazing game, again, bowling out so many kills in these games. We saw the first one as well, TSM having a high plethora of kills versus Curse. Everything coming out this weekend has been huge. The level 1s in these games. We're going to check some replays with Jat. We have Curse. Yeah, we have Vulcan versus Complexity replays with him on the Telestrator.
Thank you very much, Riv. And we talked about the level 1s during the pre-show, and Letta Mortis just talked about it here. Because in this game in particular, it was so interesting. If you take a look at Vulcan's early game strategy, you can see they've warded these 2 spots on the minimap already. So they have that covered. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to have X-Smithy be a human ward. But wards are invisible, and giant horses can be invisible too if X-Smithy was just waiting slightly off to the edge. This was a critical mistake by X-Smithy by not deciding to wait in the brush, because as we roll this clip, you see if he was in the brush, Complexity wouldn't have seen him. They wouldn't have gotten the taunt, he wouldn't have been able to ghost away if they actually did spot him out, and it would have been an escape. This was a completely avoidable play for Vulcan at the start of the game. So, for everyone out there, if you're being a human ward in that spot, stand in the brush. Next clip. Complexity was an early game composition. This is why this game was so entertaining. 10-18 at 24 minutes, and they forced the entire time. This was really Prawley just using his swag to work on this fight, because you can see everyone of Complexity is grouped up in the Baron pit, and Vulcan on the minimap, they all want to go in. The big thing they can't forget about is Prawley on the flank. So let's roll this at half speed to see how he just zones out almost all of Complexity. X-Smithy flies in, but Prawley makes everyone on Vulcan back up, takes some of them low, and doesn't even die themselves. This lets Complexity kill McWoo. It lets them have control of the Baron. And also Prawley still providing pressure, 1v4. It allows Complexity to finish off the Baron up at the top of the screen, and Prawley still there. They're zoning him out. Then once the fight happens, let's pause it here. And this is actually an example of how important it was that Prawley zoned out everyone on Complexity everyone on Vulcan, because this fight could have been a disaster for Complexity. If this fight would have happened when they were all brunched up in the Baron pit and unable to spread out to other sides like they did in this fight, it would be a disaster. Because if you watch this fight, you'll notice Brunch U was the only one to get caught in all the AoE. Let's roll this at full speed. So Complexity has this fight. Brunch U gets a little bit screwed up, but they scattered enough. It turned into a 2v1, and they got the Baron, which allowed Complexity to put the pressure through to the rest of the game. Annie and Darius do not scale that well, so it's a good thing Complexity had that much aggression throughout the entire game to pull out the victory. Thanks to you guys.
Thank you very much. Oh, what?
Don't brunch up in the Baron pit.
Never brunch up in the Baron pit. You're going to upset the apple cart. So thanks, Jat. It's now time to check out your responses on Twitter. Earlier we asked which recent NA LCS roster change has had the most impact and why. Here's what you had to say.
Wild Turtle. His aggressive style really melds well with the team, especially Reginald. He seems to be revitalized. I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. Reggie was known for being the original aggressive mid player, and he's gone back to his roots. Like that answer.
Absolutely. And our next one up, the biggest pickup of the NA LCS was Bloodwater. They're getting a shot caller who is familiar with his lane partner.
We saw that on display versus TSM. Bloodwater making call after call. They got the first blood. Yeah. They got the second blood. They rolled really that whole game after that, and he did a good job of controlling the pace.
Absolutely. And our last one is probably from Complexity, because he likes to play different champs and surprise other players. Good game call. I think he surprises everybody. Surprises.
Especially after that game, I'm a Probably fan. That was really well played. I love seeing the new things, and he definitely keeps you on your toes.
Serial. Keep those answers coming, everyone. Hit us up with anything else you would like to share. Well, almost anything else. We're at LOL Esports and the hashtag LCS. And don't forget that the LCS continues in Europe on Saturday with 6 big matches, starting with SK Gaming trying to take down the top team in the league, Fnatic.
It all begins at 5 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. CEST.
And of course, we've got much more for you here in North America. When we come back, Marn is now in 5th place thanks to Vulcan's loss, but if they want to stay there, they've got to beat GGU. Don't go anywhere.